Okay, before we go and engage the pain, let's see if we get lucky. Okay, predictions are up. 5-star artifact, 5-star unit, or neither. Oh, and on the weird outside chance that it's both, whichever thing is first in the order, we'll get the payout. So like if it's an artifact first and then a unit, artifact voters will win. But let's get the predictions up, guys. Let's go. Oh, 10 of you think artifact. That's nice. 1,000 points towards units. 20,000 say F you, Wulf. Man, I can't. Okay, let's prove these non-believers wrong. Show me an artifact. Take that! Take that, non-believers! Take that! Oh my god, I'm spitting here. Who's it gonna be? Oh my god, here we go. It's a knight. It's Ilanov, isn't it? It's fucking Ilanov! I get a damage Ilanov! Yeah! Oh my god, this is great. This is so good. Of all of the dupes in the game, this is the one I think I wanted the most. Let's pay that prediction out. To the one person who voted 5-star unit, my friend, you are eating well today. Alrighty then. It's time. It's time for this. What's up, Epic 7? I know. It's really late. But I'm finally getting around to it. You can stop sending me DMs. Here is this week's video for Hall of Trials. This week we will be fighting Rampaging Astromancer Elena. The unit de jour is to use Thieves. Thieves in the back row are granted Thief Mastery. It's a similar effect to the Mage's Mastery we got during the Euphine Hall of Trials, but now it's for Thieves. Also, when you have 2 or more Earth Elemental heroes on the team, it increases your attack by 50% and decreases damage suffered by 30%. And that's huge because this girl pumps out some damage. This is the team I'm going with. This team will let you milk out the absolute highest score and sit down and get ready to grind this over and over and over again because this is a very RNG dependent fight and the tuning on it is... It takes crackerjack tuning to make this team work, so get ready for a wild ride. We're going to start out with the fastest unit on the team, who is Fire Acades. Now, I could make her faster, but I found 271 to 273 was about the right speed range for her. I put the Touch of Rekos artifact on her. You can try it with some other artifacts, maybe Guardian Ice Crystal, but doing this without Touch of Rekos will be tricky. You'll probably have to up your HP and defense a little bit on your units because you take a lot of damage, and this really takes the edge off. As for the EE, it doesn't really matter. I guess in a perfect world you could run her number 2 EE for additional healing on her S2, but what's most important is the 14% health. 271 speed, a little bit of effectiveness can be nice, especially if you mola her S1 so that you can get a attack down to reduce incoming damage. Just a perk. Don't go nuts trying to chase that down. As much HP as you can get on her because her heals do scale based on her own health, so you want her to have high HP so her healing is impactful. Second fastest unit on the team is going to be Green Vivian. Now, Green Vivian, 195 speed seems to be about right for me. You could go up or down, probably 2 or 3 speed, but I wouldn't deviate too far from this. The important thing is that she does enough damage to do 20% damage to the adds in one hit. So you don't need this much damage on her. The more damage the better because she does squeeze a shot or 2 off inside of the break phase, and it's nice for those to be impactful. But don't go nuts chasing super high damage stats on her. Save your best gear for Violet. For an EE, I just use the one that CR pushes her after her S3. You can experiment with other ones, but this seemed to work fine for me. She is going to have Prophetic Candlestick. The only alternative to Prophetic Candlestick is going to be Etika Scepter. I think Etika Scepter would work if you try to build a really fast version of Vivian, like 250 speed. But even at that speed, this is going to have more chances to proc than Etika Scepter, if I'm not mistaken. At least the same number. Plus my Etika Scepter is also only 40% because it's only plus 15. So I'm running with Candlestick, and yeah, the rest into damage, Torrent set. Do put some EHP on her. This is about 50k EHP. So roughly 12,000 or 1,200 defense by 10,000 health is kind of a goal. Mine's a little thinner than I'd like, but if you go 2 glass on your Vivian, she will just die. Next in the rotation is Lulika, Ice Lulika. This is how tight the speed tuning is. I tried her at 187 speed and it didn't work. I bumped her up to 189 speed and it did work. So when you run this with your own speeds, if you notice that units are consistently going out of order, try nudging units up or down by 1 speed, maybe 2 speed tops, and see how that impacts your turn rotation. On Lulika, I again put her on damage because I want her to be able to drop some damage in the break phase when she does her normal attacks. Make sure you've got her S2 Moled for skill cooldowns. And I put her on Warhorn just to help boost the team's damage. You can try a variety of different artifacts here, but this one worked great. Once again, about 50,000 EHP. So, you know, roughly 1,200 defense, 10k health, or raise one, lower the other. Try to find a space where she's tanky enough to not just die by the end of the fight, because you're going to take a lot of hits, a lot of damage. And the big guns. My highest damage Destro set possible, Green Violet. I've got him on a Destruction Torrent set. Remember, Pen set is useless here because in the break phase the boss has 0 defense, so Pen does nothing. So I went with Torrent for additional damage. He is at 137 health. That seems to be about the point he needs to be. 135 to 138 speed. Again, if it messes with your speed tuning, you can play around with the numbers to try to adjust him up or down as need be. He's got 71 crit chance, which hopefully with the full procs from the POS artifact takes him up to 91% crit chance, and then the rest will be made up by his perception buff when it matters. I did get a little bit of tankiness on him, but don't really worry about tankiness on your Violet. Just focus on damage, damage, and more damage. You want those big numbers. And that's it. So, let's get ready and jump right in, and hopefully we get this done without being here until 2 in the morning. Okay, let's get this fight going. Now at the start of the fight, Astromancer Elena will do her ultimate. This puts heal block, yay, and a permanent buff block, undispellable, on all of your units. I'm going to pause here for just a second. I want to go over the mechanics of how this fight works, because this is a very, very technical, step-by-step fight. Not only do you have to be perfectly tuned for it, you have to do everything in the right order, and be lucky. So, first things first. In order to push the break phase, we need to hit Elena 4 times while we're all wearing a defense buff. And in order to wear a defense buff, we need to get rid of the permanent buff block that's over everybody's head. In order to get rid of the permanent buff block, you need to kill both of the adds. And both of the adds, you can only do 20% of their health in damage per hit. So you've got to spam a lot of AoE hits to kill them. And then Lulika has to be ready, Johnny on the spot with her S2, thus the special tuning, the perfect tuning, so that she can put defense buff on everybody, and then you gotta smack Elena 4 times and boom, you're into the phase. Easy, right? Did I mention you have to get Prophetic Candlestick or Etika Scepter to proc multiple times? Yeah, you do. This is like my 26th run, and I'm just about to lose my mind. So let's start off by healing everybody up. This will get rid of the heal block and top us off, but it won't get rid of those permanent buff blocks. So we'll go ahead and use the S2 here to clear the skill nulls that Astromancer puts up because she's a jerk. And this paves the way to use our S3 skill, not for the attack buff, but because it's an AoE, and because we built a lot of damage on Lulika and Vivian, it's enough to do the full 20% of damage. We'll go ahead and apple with the S2. This is less for anything other than just increasing the number of POS procs so that we can be more likely to crit and do more damage. Bottom one's got the lowest or the highest health, so we'll S1 him. And we're looking for candlestick procs. There we go, prophetic candlestick. So we're good to S2. Now take a look at the health. See how the top one is below 3 ticks on the health bar? The bottom one was higher, so we S1. Now they're both lower than 3 ticks. Now something to be aware of. If prophetic candlestick didn't proc there, and Vivian would go without her S2, you can use Acades' S2 to reset Vivian. It's kind of a safety net. We don't need to do that, so we'll just S1 for the attack down. Vivian can now S2, and because they're both below that 3rd tick, we'll be able to kill in 1 hit. Now, the buff block is gone. We can put the defense buff up. Now we need to hit 4 times. There's 1. And this one is 2, unequipped times 2. This will be 3, unequipped times 3. Before we push phase, let's go ahead and apple for the POS procs. And just S1, and this will push phase. 4. When Acades goes first, you want to S3. If Violet goes first, you want to S2. Trust, this will make sure that you exit the phase with your S3 heal ready to go. We've got 5 bars of focus, so we'll drop the S3 for maximum damage. 1.97 million, nice. S3, every time you use a non-attack skill, it's going to push Violet to the front of the line. This is a non-attack skill, to the front of the line Violet goes. We've got the S3, but we've got no focus, so no real damage. So we'll S1 for 1 bar of focus, S2 ourselves, and this will push Violet back up to the front. We can go ahead and apple here. That only gives us 4 bars of focus, so we're going to be a little piggy here and just S1 so we can have 5 bars next round and S3 then. This is why you want to have good attack on your Vivian and on your Lulika, because they are going to have to S1 sooner or later in the break phase, and you want it to do good damage. This will push Violet to the front. Now we can S3. We've got a full 5 bars of focus, so this will do spectacular damage. 2.07 million. Really, really nice. Here we have to S1. Her S1 hits a lot harder than her S2, so make sure you S1 with Vivian. We'll S2 Lulika, that's a non-attack skill, Violet to the front. We'll S1 for a point of focus. We'll S2 ourselves, see, perfect timing. Acades has her S3 ready, Violet's ready to apple. Gives us 4 bars of focus instead of 5, but hey, it's best we can do is the last hit, so let's drop the S3 in and get as much damage as we can. It won't be over 2 million, it's 1.91 instead of 2.07, but still, really good damage. And the process starts all over again. Buff block, heal block, everything's back up. We can go ahead and get an S2 off for free, 20% damage there. She puts skill null back up, but Lulika will be able to clear that. Acades is ready to heal everybody, so we can go ahead and top off the healing, get rid of the heal blocks. And Lulika can use her S3 to clear those pesky skill nulls. Okay. And no candlestick proc yet. Let's go ahead and S1 this guy. And let's check the CR bar. Okay, candlestick is not procced, and I'm worried it's not going to. You know what? We're gotcha gamers. We're gotcha gamers. S1, surely we get the proc. Procced. There we go. If that hadn't procced, my run was over and I have to start over. But it worked. We got the S2 off, so we're back in action. And another candlestick proc. We're good to push phase now because I don't have to worry about her having her last S2. The bottom one needs to be hurt a little bit more. That tick is still above the 3rd. That line's still above the 3rd tick. Now both of them are below the 3rd tick, so the S2 will kill both of them. And that pushes phase. We can defense break. Or defense buff, I should say, and now we need to hit 4 times. Now, the tuning's a little weird. Last time, Violet went last. Now he's going first, so things are a little out of order. But we're just going to roll with it. So we S1, there's 2nd hit, there's the 3rd hit, 1 more hit to push phase. You know what? I would rather Lulika push phase. Now, Violet's going to go first, so we want to make sure Acades can S2 in the break phase, so we'll use the S3 skill here. Lulika can S1, and this will push our break phase. Now we're inside the phase. Violet's going first, so we're going to want to S2 with Acades. So we'll apple. We got 5 bars of focus, so we'll drop the S3. Excellent. Now Acades will S2 herself. And we'll just S1 here for a point of focus. Vivian can S3, and that will get our that'll get our focus bar back up, or it's not our focus bar. That'll get Violet back to the front. We'll S1 for 2 bars of focus. Next round he can apple, and that'll be great. S1 for a little damage. S3 ourselves. This will push Violet up. And we're going to S2 here. And that's a full bar of focus, so now we can S3 again. And there we go. And we'll S1 here. We got 2 hits left, so let me see. 2 hit. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to S2 Violet, and that'll cycle his apple around, and we'll be able to get a much stronger hit here at the end. Little risky, but let's do it. So we'll S1 for a bar of focus, and then Lulika can S2. That'll push Violet up. And now on this last hit, we can apple. And now we've got 4 bars of focus, so we can drop a super powerful S3. If we actually hit S3, we hit S1. I'll tell you what, this I thought was a big problem, but it turned out, after reviewing the footage, I needed to do this. I wouldn't have been able to clear if I had used my S1 there. I actually needed the S3 to help kill one of these ads. So let's go ahead and injure the top ad. And we get the pesky skill null. And then we'll S2 everybody to get rid of the skill null. Lulika can S3, so here's our first 20% damage. Now if your Violet is cracked, or your Arcades crits, I think you would be fine just using Violet's S1. Gotta heal here, we're all hurt too much to not. I found that when I used my Violet's S1, it wasn't enough damage, but Violet's S3 into this bottom guy, let's see, he has the most health, so this does the full 20%, and it's actually what let me push phase. We got Prophetic Candlestick proc there, so Vivian is ready to S2. Now the bottom guy is definitely below the third tick mark. The top guy is well above. So we've got to focus the top guy. Hopefully this takes us down below that third tick. Ooh, it does not. So the top guy is going to survive, but the bottom guy will die. There we go. Ouch. Everybody's hanging on by a thread. We're going to S1. I know it seems crazy not healing here, but we need to kill this top guy. Well, S1, and he's dead. That pushes Elena to the back of the line, and we're ready to go. We'll put the defense buff on everybody. It's funny how a mistake actually turns out to be the thing that lets us clear this floor. So we S1 for the first hit with defense break, second hit with defense break, third hit with defense break. Go on, Lulika, you can do it. And I want Violet to be the one that pushes phase. He can apple for us, so we'll just go ahead and... Violet's going for... it doesn't really matter, because we're not exiting this break phase, so I'll just S3 here. Don't get cut, Violet. We're fine, we're fine. So we apple. That gets us a bunch of focus. And then we can S1, and now we're entering the break phase with a full 5 bars of focus. Do I S1? Do I S1? You know what? Nah, I'm just going to S3. It's a non-attack skill. It's going to push Violet all the way to the front of the line, and he'll be able to use his S3 skill with a full 5 bar focus and get us tremendous damage. This should be about as hard as you can possibly hit. This is my maximum damage output. Let's see it. Oh my god, 3.47 million. So nice. We'll S2, that'll push Violet back to the front. We'll just S1 here for a bar of focus. 29 million. We'll S1 here. And we'll S3 here. That'll get Violet up front ahead of Vivian. And we'll apple for 4 bars. I'm going to do it again. We're just going to S1 so we can have 5 bars next round. Vivian's going to S1 here. Lulika can S2. That'll push Violet all the way to the front. And now we can S3 for that full 5 bar focus. That should be another 3.47 million damage. Nice, nice. We'll S2 ourselves. That'll push Violet back to the front again. Wait a minute, let me check the bar. If I S2 Violet, what happens? Let's see, if I S2 Violet... He could apple an S3. Hindsight being 2020, I should have S2'd Violet. Because Vivian is going to push the phase anyway. So I cost myself a lot of points here. If I had S2'd, this would have been with 3 bars of focus, would have hit significantly harder, and I would have had a much higher score. But hey, we take it. We S1 here, 3.8 million. I probably cost myself about 500,000-600,000 points. I don't know. I'm not going to do it again to find out. 38 million points is a respectable score, and I think that secures me top 100 easily. Whew. I hated this, guys. This was not fun. I spent a good amount of the day figuring out the timing, figuring out the tuning, and getting lucky with Prophetic Candlestick, and learning that I needed to screw up a mistake. I actually needed to S1 at the end of that phase so that I could S3. If you guys want to see how Billy got 41 million, he's got a YouTube video up. He basically did it by having a Violet that makes mine look pathetic. His gear is crazy. His Violet is imprinted. Hats off to him. His run wasn't even as efficient, and he still banged out that score, so gear gapped. But you know what? I am happy with the number 5 spot. I'm going to take it and run. I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it helps you get your top 100, your top 1%, whatever you're shooting for. Even if you're just going for triple S plus, run this team and don't re-gear anybody. Just if you can get into the break phase and squeeze off 1 or 2 Violet S3s, triple S plus, easy peasy. I guess that is all. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great one, Epic 7. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe.